Queen's Counsel panel Campbell said history was created in SVG last Thursday when the Christian community came out in their numbers in physical and spiritual defense against a provocative attack. He was speaking on his Law and You program last evening on a march and rally held by the SVG Christian Coalition to highlight national issues of moral and social concern, particularly the challenge to the country's burglary laws. The Queen's Counsel said this attack is not just random, but a campaign being raged worldwide by the LGBTQ community against the laws, which criminalize homosexuality, and ultimately against the Supreme Being. He encouraged the Christian community, whom he referred to as Christian soldiers, to hold their position and continue to fight for what is right for the future of all Vincentians.
That challenge is not random. It is part of a plan, a deliberately crafted agenda, step by step, by those who would want us to accept as normal certain types of conduct and behavior. Those who are involved in that campaign are extremely wealthy. They have lots and lots of money. But it is interesting to note that they feel free to bring the challenge against these laws, which they allege are unconstitutional.
Campbell, who was part of the march last Thursday, said no one can look at him and say that he is homophobic or hates persons who have homosexual persuasions.
But while I agree that persons must be allowed a certain latitude to live a lifestyle of their choosing, it doesn't mean that I would advocate that the society should accept the norms that those persons want to force society to accept.
The Queen's Counsel said he does not understand why persons have been attacking the Christian community of being hypocritical, as they are merely rallying in defense of the challenge to their faith. He noted that while Jesus Christ loved everyone, including sinners, he did not love, support, or condone or accept any sin.
I have acquaintances who are of a different sexual persuasion, whom I accept and get along well with. Doesn't mean that I'm in agreement with the practices in which they indulge. Nor does it mean that I want my children to be taught to tolerate certain practices which the good book says should not be tolerated. I am no theologian, but I am fairly well read in the Word of God. And from what I have read and studied in the Bible, there is no doubt in my mind, no doubt in my mind whatsoever, that certain homosexual practices are unbiblical or diametrically opposed to the teachings of God.
Former grievance officer with the Public Service Union, Kenson King, has publicly raised a number of in-house issues which he said are affecting the proper functioning of the union. The comments were made in a Facebook post following his removal from the position by the rest of the union's executive body. King was dismissed after he reportedly missed 5 executive meetings without giving any reason, which he has refuted in his Facebook post. Meanwhile, in a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, the president of the PSU, Elroy Boucher, dismissed the statements by King, stating that they are all lies and that the union's constitution has to be upheld.
Because we all, if somebody is going overseas or going on vacation, as long as it is said, everybody take it as, okay, we know, so we're not looking for you. Simple. Okay, it was the same thing. As a matter of fact, before I left here, I even spoke to the president, the present president, who was president then, one-on-one. And a matter of fact, even when I spoke to him in the meeting, I know Joe, I know that even Javel Frank can attest to this.
Absolutely nothing to communicate his absence or any reason for his absence to the current executive. We have no evidence, nothing in writing or otherwise, that states any reason why he is absent or was going to be absent. All the information that was had, it was just rumors. Where he was, whether he's returning from where he was, etc. All accounts, the executive took a decision to uphold the Constitution. It's a unanimous decision. And it is important that we do that. Otherwise, you cannot speak about the Constitution anymore, or you cannot apply it.
King noted in his post that he will not fight the union, as he had already indicated that he was not willing to serve under the current president, and believes that this is when things went sour for him. King added that he did the best he could as the union's grievance officer and stood up for truth, presenting persons fairly. However, the PSU president said King failed in his job miserably.
No, I was elected grievance officer of the union, the first person to know what is bothering workers. Even this letter alludes to that, right? But yet, because he had a personal grudge against me, he decided to go along that road. They even had a secret meeting behind my back and decided to send out a media release distancing the union from me. That almost broke up the executive.
The last AGM gave a report for the last year. He failed miserable. In fact, there is a performance appraisal that was done on all executive members. It is in that document. And he got very, very low scores. He failed to carry out his duties. There is evidence of that.
As for a replacement, Boucher said they are in the process of having the vacant position filled soon.
There has to be a general meeting to address that. And it's a bit complicated because of the fact that we have changed the Constitution to address elections. So this aspect of it was not taken into account because elections really cannot be held at a general meeting anymore. So we have to see how best to navigate this one, because the Constitution says, the amended Constitution says the elections must be held in the department where the workers really are.
Vincentian men are being called to stand up and be counted to make a difference in society. The call came from coordinator of Project Men 2020, Conroy Huggins, as the country observed International Men's Day today. Huggins said that men have been lagging behind in many of their roles and have also contributed negatively to the social ills in society, and it is time to change things around.
About it, most of the social problems that we are experiencing today are committed by men. Crime, violence, different forms of abuse are committed by men. Rape, incest, robberies, killings, murders are committed by men. And today I want to make a clarion call as coordinator of Project Men 2020 to ask our men to get up, arise, and take their rightful place. The divine ordained position for man is to lead his family, is to be there as a provider for his family, is to be there as someone who sustains his family, is to be there as the foundation of the family.
He emphasized the need for fathers to be more responsible, as their presence in the life of their children is critical to their growth and development.
It is a very difficult thing growing up without a biological father. Children who are growing up without biological fathers, they generally have it more difficult in school. The boys, they have greater behavioral problems. They are more unsettled, they are angry, and most of the times they vent that anger. For girls, they become more insecure, and as a result they become more enclosed, and Whenever a man who has been angered all of his life because he didn't have his father in his life, and a woman who is insecure because she didn't have her father in her life, whenever those two people come together, it is literally a recipe for disaster. And that is why it takes grace to grow in relationship. So I'll be calling on men today, and not just today, but as we go forward, to lift our standards, lift our games.
Huggins said recognition must be given to men who have and continue to make positive contributions, which is International Men's Day all about.
Engage in the society, and the idea of a celebration for International Men's Day, has been going on. International Women's Day is being celebrated since 1906. I can tell you how significant that has been. So we have recently have this opportunity to be celebrating International Men's Day. Today the focus is on men and boys, and the contribution that they're making to society. Men in the context as fathers, as husbands, from the religious spiritual background, as priests, as pastors, as shepherds of their families. Those are very, very critical.
A men's symposium hosted by the Gender Affairs Division is currently in progress at the Methodist Church Hall in observance of International Men's Day. For the last 5 years, many children were born prematurely at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. On Sunday, November 17th, 44 of these children were celebrated for having survived the worst and are now thriving at their home with their parents at a graduation ceremony hosted by the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit of the hospital. 1-year-old Kirill Sulin was named valedictorian as he was the smallest baby to be born at the hospital in the last 5 years. He was born at 28 weeks and weighed in at 831 grams. Head of Pediatrics at the hospital, Dr. Rosemary Boyles, said that the care for the premature babies is important if they are to live to their full potential.
Let's just make a promise to ourselves that we will make the biggest contribution to these little ones, that we will try to reduce the mortality, which is due to severe prematurity. The statistics tell us that 1 in every 10 deliveries are preterm. And of the 15 million preterm babies, 1 million die every year. It's a big figure, and we have to try and see if we can reduce that number in our small way. We are just a tiny dot in the world, but we can contribute to the reduction of these figures in every which way we can.
Feature speaker Dr. Robert Fleming of the World Pediatric Project commended the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital for a job well done in taking care of preemies. He also noted that babies born prematurely is not an automatic death sentence.
All of a sudden you have to put your trust in the most important thing in your life in a group of strangers, and then this sort of nagging issue of why did this even happen? Now, a lot of people have been trying to work on that. I mean, why does prematurity happen at all? Why scientifically? There have been a number of investigations and different medical approaches to try to deal with it. But I think one thing is very clear. In the vast, vast majority of situations, it has absolutely nothing to do with the prenatal care, anything that the mother did, anything she didn't do, anything that the father could have done differently, nothing about the time of conception, none of those things. Prenatal care is a very important thing, and it's a very useful thing for mother and baby. But having a baby in a unit, having a baby with sickness, happens to all people, all around the world.
At the graduation ceremony held under the theme, Celebrating the Gift of Light, Little Feet, Big Fighters, a police officer shared his experience of having a premature child.
I couldn't believe it. It's like I was seeing this small face, this small clear face wrapped inside a blanket. I couldn't ask a question because I didn't want to sound dumb as so asking the nurse if that was the baby or if that was really her, you know. And I remember helping her with the oxygen cylinder to the NICU, which I had to stay outside for a couple of minutes until I was given all clear to go back inside. When I went to see her for the first time, that was our first meeting, I felt numb. knowing that parents can have their child, to hold their child, kiss their child, to feel their child for the first time. And my first sighting was, this beautiful chamber like Snow White, except she was surrounded by wires and other tubes, and I felt numb.
The catching of whales for consumption has been for many years part of the culture of SVG, particularly so on the Grenadine island of Bequia, with many conservationists locally, regionally and internationally decrying the practice here and in other parts of the world. On Saturday, however, this country took a major step towards a shift from whale catching to whale watching, with the donation of a vessel and fishing equipment to be used for whale watching. The vessel, which carries a tag price of 85,000 EC dollars along with an engine and safety equipment with the additional cost of $80,000, were handed over to 2 fishermen of the Barley by the SVG Environment Fund. Speaking at the handing over ceremony on Saturday, Director of the SVG Environment Fund, Louise Mitchell, said humans are custodians of nature and must be empowered to be good custodians. She said the option of whale watching will bring with it sustainable economic activities for SVG, which will help to improve the quality of life for Vincentians.
Look at countries like Costa Rica, where ecotourism is the center of their economic activity, and they're experiencing consistent growth over the years. As recently as 2017, their growth was 3.8%. So we believe if Barley heads towards conservation and wildlife tours, it is actually going to make lives better for the people of Barley. And Barley happens to be uniquely positioned between where new resorts are going to be coming on stream, and persons who vacation these days, they don't just want to sit on a beach, they want to interact with nature, they want to reconnect. And what is happening in the world is, as our children spend more and more time in front of the computer, they become isolated from the nature that we all grew up with. And getting this whale watching business started here will make it easier for the children of Barley and the area to reconnect with nature.
Co-director of the SVG Environment Fund, Andrew Aiton, said the fund recognizes the need to help with livelihood creation and commended the fishermen for embracing whale watching initiative.
So the move towards the boat, we are and we will continue to lend support in terms of whatever guidance we can provide for management and support. And clearly, as they demonstrate the capacity to make this thing work, certainly others, we would hope, would follow in their footsteps. But as anything, and with anything in life, somebody has to start it. And we commend these gentlemen for being the pioneers in this move towards whale watching at a local level. Just before we started, there was a larger group of sightseers, a boat passed, and ultimately that's where we will want them to go. Start here and build their businesses to where they're viable and creating jobs and making the environment better while they support their families and develop the economy. So both gentlemen, all the best. Let me hand over the thing. I think this is you, okay? All the best. All the very best.
The 2 fishermen, Kirk Grant and Lennox Stevens, also received training abroad in whale watching and thanked the SVG Environment Fund for the opportunity to make a livelihood from whale watching, which they also believe can be of great benefit to SVG.
Watch National Geographic. We went down to Argentina, me and Lennox. And there's a part in Argentina where the white fish goes on the beach and grab the seals and take it out. If you see that in National Geographic. I went there, I saw it in Argentina. It's nature. And there's a hotel close to it. It's $5,000 US for 1 week to stay in that, just to grab a picture of it. So this opportunity that I have here to do whale watching in Barley is very helpful. And I hope the people of Barley and the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines can support us, help us to build the courage. It's not expensive. We all are poor people. We will work the best price for everybody.
I say a change is a change, but it is something that could be different in me, that I could bring somebody else. By speaking to somebody else, just say, if we didn't start nothing, nobody ain't gonna stand. We're really up to. But when we start, we can speak to someone and say, well, lots and that, so you get more understanding. Very important to start. Very important to start and understand what you're doing and understand and to tell somebody what's going on. For Miss Mitchell and the community, whosoever found the community group, very understand. You could publish something from them, you could get words on them, you could share it to somebody else and make yourself comfortable. My words is not really long, but give thanks to the supporters who is out here and very listen and very turn over everything and see what we can do in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So very thanks to Miss Mitchell.
Technology is a solution to many of the problems faced by many countries and can help to create new livelihoods. Vincentians are being encouraged to embrace the many opportunities presented through the use of technology. The appeal came at the Business Incubation graduation ceremony held today at the Methodist Church Hall by the SVG National Center of Technology Innovation, NCTI. Over 150 individuals graduated from the programs such as ICDL, CompTIA A+, A+ Networking, and Adobe Photoshop. All programs which are internationally recognized. Speaking at today's graduation ceremony, Minister of Economic Planning, Finance and Technology Camilo Gonzalez said the certification will open up doors of new opportunities for the participants.
152 people who have received training. Cisco Certified Network Associates, your, what's it called? Your internet driver's license. Yes, the ICDL. Your, networking and computer languages and the like. All of you are now positioned beyond your local colleagues and competitors and among the elites regionally and indeed internationally. With the certification that you've received. You have opened a door for yourself in going through this coursework and doing these exams that will take you further than you probably imagined today and will be a skill that you can count on for quite a while going forward. And I want to recognize all of those certified individuals, the 152 certified individuals, and to congratulate them for their tremendous achievement.
Minister Gonzalez said the programs offered by the NCTI is part of the government's thrust to empower the youth to utilize their skills and knowledge to help build the nation.
Huge bet on you to grow this economy and to develop this country. The government, through government programs and through government employment, can only take anybody so far. Then we rely on the energy and the innovation of the private sector and of young entrepreneurs to take us the rest of the way. In the next budget, which is coming up soon, there will be announced another grant program that will not be as technology centric, but will be centered on young entrepreneurs. It doesn't have to be a technology based entrepreneurial activity, so that those young entrepreneurs can get small grants, not $100,000 grants, but can get a small grant, $20,000 grant, $15,000 grant to start their business or to get a couple pieces of equipment to start their business. And you'll be hearing more about that in the coming weeks and months.
Manager of the SVG NCTI, Charles Brooke, highlighted the importance and benefits of the programs being offered, noted that they should not be taken for granted.
So we're going to really recognize those persons today. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't see more of the graduates. We made every effort to get them here, and I believe the reason why a lot of them didn't come is because they felt that they already got their certificate. They did the exam, they did the CompTIA exam, they got the CompTIA certificate. So maybe they thought this was just, but what I was telling them, you have to show gratitude. Yes. You need to show gratitude for people, for things that, like initiatives like this. Because let's say a CCNA course, although it is subsidized by the NCTI, that course would cost you over $3,000 plus your exam fees, which over $300 US. And I'm very disappointed with those who didn't turn out today, and I'll tell them. But let me give thanks to those who turned out, and we'll deal with that afterwards.
The Medicinal Cannabis Authority will embark on a series of training workshops for local doctors next week. The MCA said the patient access training will focus on prescribing and dispensing of medical cannabis. The 3 training workshops, which are planned for the remainder of the year, are geared towards certifying participants in prescribing and eventually authorizing the prescribed medicinal cannabis. The MCA said participation in these workshops is restricted to medical doctors, dentists, and veterinarians who are duly registered under the Medicinal Registration Act, as well as pharmacists registered according to the Pharmacy Act. The dates for the training workshops are November 27th, December 4th, and 8th. The venue for the training event on November 27th and December 4th. Practitioners wishing to participate are asked to confirm this with the MCA 1 week prior to being selected the training date. The MCA will also host 2 training sessions for traditional cannabis cultivators this week. The sessions on good agriculture and collection practices, GACP, are designed to familiarize participants with global best practices and offer an outline for operation within the framework of the GACP. The authority said implementation of the GACP is crucial to farmers' ability to export or sell cannabis products locally, and that understanding of this cultivation standard is a necessary requirement. The first of the training sessions will be held at the Chateaubriand Methodist School tomorrow, Wednesday, November the 20th, and will run from 4 to 6 p.m. The second will take place at the North Union Learning Resource Center on Thursday, November 21st, and will also run from 4 to 6.